Uh, I've now hit 1,000 subscribers, so I can technically go live with my phone. So until you don't get to 1,000, you're not allowed to go live. And going live with my studio equipment was a little bit boring. It wasn't that exciting. So check this out. I want to make if anybody's here, I'd love for you to let me know if the volumes, the sound's pretty good. Okay. Regardless, let me explain what's going to be the topic for today that I want to discuss. We're going through a decent amount of changes in the real estate market in Dubai. I personally feel that we are going towards maturity, which essentially means that sellers will be mature the way they sell property, buyers will be mature the way they purchase property, landlords will get or reach a place of maturity as they start renting out properties. And I just want to have a look at my chat section as well. And tenants will start to expect a certain amount of maturity from their landlords as well. So today's topic, I want to discuss landlord-tenant relationships, because it's not just about acquiring a property and then kind of expecting it to be on fully automatic mode and then just having the money come in. You have to recognize that as a landlord, when you purchase a property, as an investor, when you purchase a property, you essentially become a landlord, right? So, but you're not just a landlord, you're also a business owner. And I say this to a lot of people when I get a chance. I explain it to them and I say, look, don't look at this as just me being a landlord, because landlord has this negative connotation, in my opinion, where you're supposed to be lord of something, whereby you're kind of like something more special, whereas at the end of the day you're a business owner, okay? Because that property of yours is an asset that's supposed to generate an income for you, right? That makes sense. But where does that income come from? It comes from your customers, right? And who are your customers? Your tenants. Your tenants are your customer, right? So it's a little bit of a mindset shift that everybody has to take on. Now, with the current situation in Dubai, where rents have genuinely aggressively gone down, landlords, some of them are fairly pissed, right? Especially the amateur landlords or the new landlords. They're like, I bought this property thinking that I could easily make a handsome return of 7%, 8% net income, and my return's gone down to 5%. They're pissed, okay? But if you turn this thing on its head, and it's like a business does, right? With this pandemic situation, everybody suffered, but the hotel that's been empty, the malls that have been empty, Dubai's recovered and things are getting back to normal. But think about it from their perspective. The hotel that's been empty, as soon as it was getting or started getting some customers, or even the few customers that it had, did it turn around? Did the hotel turn around and start treating the customers in a bad way? No. The malls and the shops that were empty, did they turn around and start treating the customers that were coming in a bad way? No. They still maintained a certain level of professional service or love. I want to say you need to completely shift your mindset and understand that what the tenant actually has for you in terms of the income that they give you is money, right? And you got to start operating like a professional business owner, okay? So I'm going to make a few points over here. The number one point that I'm going to make, when you're a landlord or a property investor, you've got to think about it like Jeff Bezos. Okay, so he's a multi-billionaire, but he wasn't always like that. But one of the things that Jeff says in most of his interviews that I've heard is that at Amazon they put only one thing at the forefront, and that's the customer, right? So all the decisions that they make, they ask themselves, is this going to benefit and make life happier for the customer? And that's one of the reasons why Amazon coming into Dubai has kind of like really taken over. Like, I remember 1 year ago, somebody from my staff, they ordered a laptop online, and I think they were trying to save some money, and they looked for the cheapest laptop, and they got it, right? But the laptop never arrived, and it was like 14 days later or 11 days later, and I inquired about it, and they said, oh, well, laptop's not here. And I asked them, did you look at the reviews of the seller? And they said, we hadn't, which is okay. Anybody can make that mistake. The moment we asked Amazon for a refund, it was instantaneous, like boom. It was like, yeah, sure, here's the refund. Now, that's the kind of customer confidence that you need to have your business grow. And how do you apply that to your tenant relationship? Look, you have to feel for your tenant. Your tenant is your what? Your customer. And you have to kind of like love and be kind to your customer, because at the end of the day, they're paying the rent which pays your mortgage or gives you income from that property. And I find that Dubai, I hope we're going towards that maturity in the market where tenants are going to start feeling love from the landlords or the property owners, right? So guys, to all the landlords, because a lot of my videos are made towards how to invest, how to squeeze more profit out of your property, how to make more money. But hey, let's look at it from the other perspective as well, because tenants deserve love as well, regardless of the situation, whether it's a hot market or a not so hot market. Taking care of your customer is going to turn out good for you at the end of the day. Number 2, don't forget that there is laws in Dubai that protect the tenants' rights. So just letting you know that if you feel, well, I don't need to love my tenant, I can't love my tenant, I can't afford to love my tenant, if he wants this particular thing fixed, that's causing the tenant physical or monetary harm, and you're just kind of like, I don't need to actually do that. Just know that there is law that protects him, right? And if the tenant knows the law and chooses to still pay you rent but takes you to court, you're gonna have to be paying a lot more in court. So know that in Dubai there are laws that protect the tenants' rights, right? This isn't like the Wild West where you kind of like do whatever you want as a landlord, and then sometimes tenants get pissed, and I've seen them take landlords to court, right, over a cockroach problem or over a leakage problem, and that can end up costing you much more, right? So that's something you need to keep in mind. Okay, okay, so just making sure. Guys, if you've got any questions that you want to ask me, feel free, and I'd be more than happy. Even if it's not tenant and landlord related, I'd be more than happy to answer if I can. Okay, number 3, listen, be professional around your relationship. I want to give you a real example. This happened some time ago, and I was sitting with one of my friends, and he was telling me like, the landlord, his tenant's been without water for a couple of days or 1 day now, and he was telling me like, I gotta send across some maintenance guy because the water pump's not getting water into his property, and the tenant's been without water. I don't think that's very cool, right? If I was a tenant in your property and I had a father, a mother, children, babies, my wife, my family, and I got to live without water. Now, it's okay if you're actually doing something about it, but if you're just not doing something about it and it's 2 days later and you're like, yeah, I got to send somebody, that's pretty bad. Like, it's kind of like, if you're going to be managing your property yourself, be professional around it, okay? And be fair. This particular person actually told me like, yeah, for my properties, I've got one maintenance guy and I kind of like send across to the property to take care of it. I gotta say this to you because we manage a lot of properties in Dubai. I gotta say this, it's a learning curve. We learn as well. A lot of times when we've used maintenance companies with one property, with one maintenance guy or a freelancer who's a single maintenance guy, a lot of times they're not actually physically available for your request or to go and fix your problem, which is why they're going to delay it. He might be cheaper, but he's not going to be professional around it, and he's not going to be available all the time when you need it, right? The last tenant I put into a villa, which was a very high-end villa, I made sure that the landlord gave my tenant a full annual maintenance contract. Now, it cost the It costs the landlord maybe 10,000, 7, 8,000 or 10,000 dirhams, but my tenant doesn't have to call the landlord. It's pretty much call the maintenance company that's on call 24 hours, 24/7, and they can easily get that problem solved. So look, as a landlord, you either be professional about it, so either hire a company or at least take responsibility for your tenants' care, or give it to a professional management company. Like, if you can't be professional, hire the professionals, let them take care of it. Now, for the properties that we're renting out, obviously tenants are moving up, right? So the guy who's in a 2-bedroom apartment is moving into a 2-bedroom townhouse. The guy who's in a 2-bedroom apartment is moving into a 3-bedroom. So you've got a lot of churn amongst tenants. But I'm very tenants, actually 2 of my tenants recently sent us a note and said, look, we are vacating, but we loved how you were managing the property, because essentially speaking, like, I'll give you one example. After we send our maintenance crew to go and fix their problem, we get them to fill out a quick online survey, which takes about 2 minutes before we release any of the payments to the maintenance crew. And we ask them if the maintenance crew came on time, did the work fair, are there any follow-up problems, all those things. Like, these little things actually add to customer satisfaction, which here in this case is the actual tenant, right? And they asked us, these tenants asked us, like, hey, do you have any other property in this area that you are particularly managing? Now, I didn't realize this, but it was essentially me talking to my team and telling them, look, we got to treat the tenants like customers and make sure that they're happy while they're staying in our property. And alhamdulillah, I thank God for this, that things worked out well, right? The other side, obviously, as we're maturing, look, you're going to have tenants who don't play game. Okay, let me have a look at it. Some tenants are a problem as well, right? So you got to be nice. You got to manage the relationship properly so things don't get out of hand. Okay, so Ali Azim Production, salam brother. So I'm just reading out a question if I can answer it. Salam brother, I'm thinking buying an apartment, need advice. Can I contact you by email or you have a number? Thank you. Okay, Ali, thanks very much for your comment. In most of my other videos, there is a contact form below. Okay, if you fill out the contact form, you will receive from me a questionnaire. If you fill it up, I'm going to either qualify you and work with you directly. Working with me does require a payment up front. I do charge. Or I'll pass you on to any of the people in my team who I have trained, and I will oversee the entire process. So yes, I'd love for you to get in touch with me, and yes, once you fill up that contact form, you will receive an email from me directly. If you reply to that email, it's going to be me replying back to you. Okay, one word of caution, right? So obviously I was kind of like making this for, so I hope that answered your question. I was making this for landlords. Kind of like don't like that word anymore. Landlord has this funny connotation, right? What I would also say is, property investors, those who are managing the properties, need to understand from that side that managing the relationship with the tenants is kind of like managing relationships with children. Okay, this is something I heard from Muhammad Al-Wadiya. He's regularly known as the Wolf of Dubai real estate, and it's essentially like, if you give the children too much leeway, they're going to run havoc, right? And if you keep them on a very tight leash, it's going to be an unhappy relationship. You kind of like have to manage the relationship. So again, if you're dealing with tenants, you have to set certain expectations. And I'll give you a live example. One of my friends was dealing with the tenant, and it was very this was funny because this tenant's signature did not ever match the bank. The signature on the checks never matched, and so the check would always bounce, right? And my friend who was managing the property himself would call me, ask me for some advice, and at the end of the day, all he did was always go and take the check and replace it and collect cash. And you're never ever supposed to do that, right? Tenants should know that the check has to clear, and for any reason, a mismatched signature, insufficient funds, or any other reason, if the bank does not honor the check, there should be some cause, and then there should be something that some form of a penalty on the tenant, so that the tenant understands, and that the penalty is not so much as a punishment, is just to get the message across that the landlord expects the rent to be paid on its due date, right? Because this tenant at the end of the day, when they were leaving, knew that the actually terminated the contract early, and before they left would not want to pay did not want to pay the penalty, because they knew that the tenant and the landlord knew that the checks are going to bounce anyways, they're not going to be valid, and the tenant knew that the landlord can be kind of like easily taken for a ride, right? Which isn't the best thing. Who wants to look around over here, just to give you an idea? That's Burj Khalifa over there, if you can see it. Okay, anyways guys, so I'll let you go for now. My name is Fahd Dawood. I talk about real estate, your life, my life, and our path to financial bliss. If you want to work with me one-on-one, a lot of my videos, and this video as well, once it's completely edited and is logged on, there's going to be a description for you to contact me directly. Obviously, if you've got questions now, I'm happy to answer them. That's fine. If you've got any question, you want to say hi, you want to say hello, just trying to look at who's online. I'm happy to answer them right now. If you don't have any questions right now, that's also fine. You can always reach me with the contact form. When you press it, click it, it's going to open up a browser, and if you put in your details, you will receive an email from me directly. Okay, ciao for now. Bye. Okay, Fawad, eligibility to buy property from outside Dubai. Can you? Hey, Alok, hope you're doing well. Hey, Fawad, I'm doing very well as well. Thank you, Alok. Let me answer Fawad. Fawad, there is no such criteria. There isn't like, there's nothing like. Anybody from anywhere in the world can purchase a property in Dubai. You don't have to be a resident. You don't even have to technically visit Dubai. Dubai is kind of like so advanced with everything. You can actually purchase the property remotely. You don't need to visit Dubai. So did that answer your question? Maybe you want to expand more on what you meant about eligibility, right? Most of the time when people are asking about eligibility, mortgage, I was just going to say this. Okay, a lot of time people are asking about excuse me, financial ability. Look, I'll come to your question. Can we open a bank account in Dubai with a tourist visa? I'll come to your question. Let me just answer Fuad's, okay? As a non-resident, so Fuad, again, you can get a mortgage as well in Dubai, so you can get financial help as a non-resident. So just to clarify, a resident is somebody who's based in Dubai and has a residence visa, okay? So either you're employed, you have your own company, or one of those new visas that are coming out, like a freelancer visa or anything like that. You can, if you have that, you're eligible on your first property up to 80% finance. If you're a non-resident in Dubai, you're eligible up to 50%. So you can still actually get financing, and a lot of times you can actually purchase an off-plan property, so that you don't, for an off-plan property that's going to be ready in 1 or 2 years, as long as you're buying from a very good developer, you're not going to have any issues. You start making the payments, so you're kind of getting finance from the developer, and then once it's ready, you can move in and take the 50% mortgage if required. Look, Fuad, I hope I answered your question. If you've got any more clarifications, I'm happy to clarify them now. Alok asked, can we open a bank account? Yes, you can open a bank account in Dubai. So it used to be fairly simple, but Dubai in regulatory terms has moved to standardize and meet international standards in terms of opening bank accounts, so on and so forth. Okay, used to be you walk into a bank and ask them to open a savings account. So the difference between a current account and a savings account in Dubai is a current account you get a checkbook, a savings account you don't get a checkbook, okay, which for a non-resident really isn't going to matter. But now you can still open a bank account. All you need to do is prove to the bank why you need that bank account open. So maybe you're purchasing a property. So obviously when you're purchasing a property, you're going to have the paperwork that us agents provide you, and then you're going to be able to show that to the bank that I'm in the process of purchasing this property, or I have purchased a property and I want to transfer funds to Dubai to be able to complete the transaction. That's number one. Number two, just so you know that banks now have a standard list of documents that they require. So I'm giving you something off the top of my head. They keep changing, so you want to check with the bank specifically. It would require a 3 months bank statement from your home country, a letter from your home country, and a few other things that they might require for you to be able to open a bank account. So not very complicated, but just a little bit of regulatory. Answers your question, Alok. Let me know if I did. If you've got any other questions, happy to answer them now. If not, then I am going to sign off. And yes, I will try to make this a more regular feature, you know, because it can be more interactive. A lot of times, a lot of people ask me questions in the comment section, and there is just so much I can write in the comment section to actually address your questions and answer them properly. But here, I'm happy to do them, and it's you're welcome, Alok. I appreciate the question. Thanks very much for that. If you got more questions, hey, maybe I'll announce my live when I'm going live in advance as this gathers steam, and then I will be more than happy to do that. Okay, so Ali, Fawad, Alok, and all the rest who joined in, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Ciao for now. I'll see you guys later. I don't see any more questions coming in. And it is going to be, do I deal with Abu Dhabi property? Generally speaking, look, I don't myself, but there's always going to be brokers or agents whom I trust or who I could recommend. I only, just to let you know, I work with a very select few investors. They sign me up in advance. I usually charge a deposit, and if that's the case with any investor, then yes, I would be able to obviously help them out in Abu Dhabi as well. Essentially speaking, it's one country, just two different cities. So yes, I would be able to guide you, but if you're already looking at a property and you just need some advice or an Abu Dhabi centric view, then obviously I can always recommend you to an Abu Dhabi broker as well. Okay, so I hope that helps. Don't see more questions coming in. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. Obviously, if you've got, okay, look, sure, we'll let you know soon. If you've got questions in my comment section, I do look at them, and I do generally reply to them as well on most of the videos. Right, I do that personally myself. Somebody from my team. Okay, ciao for now. Bye. Okay.